So in the last episode, we introduced a bug for when you're logged out. When we check if we're able to retweet a tweet, we're accessing user.tweets without checking if the user is nil for signed out. So I just wanted to show you what I would do in this situation. So it would be very easy to look at the problem here and just put in return false if user is nil. But in this situation, we've introduced a bug. We do have a test suite, and the test suite isn't covering this. So I think the ideal scenario is we reproduce this bug. So I'm just going to go into the tweet model, and we can see we've got the can retweet method. So if we then go to the spec for this, you can see it's just testing the relations and stuff. So we might want to just go in here and say, describe this method. And we want to say it returns false when user is nil, and it returns false when user has already retweeted. It returns, I should probably organize these differently. So I like to do the happy path first. So we'll say it returns true when user has not retweeted before. So we can go through here first, and we can say it returns false when user is nil, and we can say, let's grab a tweet. So we've got Pete's tweet here, user is Pete, and for the first example, let's just call tweet. And then we can go in here and say tweet dot can retweet user nil. And then we can say expect that to be false. And then when we run this, it should raise that same bug, and that reproduces our failure. So that then gives us our undefined method tweets for nil class, same as we're getting here in the browser. So we've reproduced that bug. And now if we go in here and say return false if user.nil, reload the browser, obviously that works now. And if we go back to the tweet spec and run this, it should return false. And it does. And that solves the issue, and that's a regression spec that works, which is good. But I'm just going to take the extra step here to complete the test for this method since it wasn't tested before. So we want to go in here and say user, we'll grab our users from fixtures, and we'll get Lazaro. And so we'll say let user, and we can say user here. Obviously in this example we need to make them retweet, so we'll just run this one first and hopefully that comes back as true, which it does. This one obviously will still work. And then this one's going to return true because we haven't actually done the retweet yet. So we need to create a retweet. So we need to say user.tweets.create. And then we need to fill in a retweet ID for tweet.id. And then body being tweet.body. So if we hit save there and rerun, that now passes. So running the full spec for that model, that all passes too. So that fixes the issue and gives us test coverage as well, so we shouldn't fall into that mistake again. The last thing then is if I run the full test suite, we have a request spec failing as well for the tweets show view, and we can't find tweet with ID show. So if we go here, you can see it's actually the test that Rails generated for us when we generated our tweets controller. So we actually need to go here and copy this tweet. And then we can say get tweet.id, and that should make that test pass, which it does. That was a very quick one just to show you my approach when you introduce a bug, what you should do, and what will help keep your code quality high and free from bugs, hopefully.